funny, do you?
No, not right now.
He
That's
doesn't think
our
I'm,
meeting.
he doesn't think I'm funny. Books wants me over there.
Are you gonna be here too? That's it. Then you can't get too far. That's right.
Oh, you're fine. Oh, so,
I'll work on it.
Dave, book. Does that help at all? Okay. I should have written them down for you, sorry. Are you ready? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you to the members of the media for being here. I just want to let you know that through the hard work of City Water, Light, and Power and our partners who have come in from out of town to assist, our numbers have greatly improved for outages. At one point today, we were down to just 13, and it was commercial businesses, and Doug will talk to you more about that in a minute. This allowed us to go back to our numbers of what we were prior to June 29th into providing power to our citizens and to our businesses. I want to touch on the fact that we have now moved into the next phase of our steps with the Derecho and the situation that happened here in Springfield. The Red Cross has now transitioned out of the BOS Center due to those numbers coming down so quickly. I do want to give a special thank you to the American Red Cross as well as the BOS Center for their assistance in providing shelter during the day for our citizens, a few for overnight, charging stations for them to charge their devices, and a meal and a nice cold drink. Springfield Fire and Springfield Police manned this building, the BOS Center, as first responders, and I want to give them a big shout out as well. They were there 24/7, so thank you very much. The cooling centers, if we have citizens who are hot in the summer sun and want to cool, are back to our regular locations that are located on the city site. All of our municipal center buildings, east and west, Lincoln Library, our community relations building that Ethan Posey works in, as well as Helping Hands, Salvation Army, and the food bank, or I'm sorry, St. John's Breadline. Thank you, Ethan. So our normal cooling centers are back into place now. We are no longer using the BOS Center for that. As I touched on with the media earlier, the BOS Center has a big convention coming in, so they needed their space back as well. So, Doug, you pulled all that off in just the right time. I wanted to let you know, as well as our transitioning phases, we are transitioning, and Director Fuchs will touch on this. The food waste location sites will be transitioned away as well, and Director Fuchs will touch on that as well. And then once our directors speak, we'll just give you the numbers again for where citizens can call for help. So I'm going to turn it over to Director Dave Fuchs now, just to give you a little update on Public Works, hauling of debris, and then the waste.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. As of 6:30 this morning, the Department of Public Works deployed 9 crews dedicated to debris cleanup. We deployed 3 cutting crews from the Forestry Division that are just cutting trees. The branch map has been activated. If you want to take a look at what parts of the city debris is being collected in, you can check that out. So far today, 176 loads of debris have been hauled, and total is 1,066 since the storm began. I'd also like to give a special mention to our good friends at the Illinois Department of Transportation, who have been helping us throughout this event, and they have really been providing a great deal of support. As of last Thursday, that's the 6th of July, they provided 6 crews, and they hauled 124 loads of debris. Last Friday, the 7th of July, they provided 6 crews and hauled 138 loads of debris. And then on Saturday, the 8th of July, they provided 9 crews and moved 212 loads of debris. It's a great help to all of us, a great help to the citizens of the city of Springfield, and we are very, very grateful to the Illinois Department of Transportation. As the mayor mentioned, we are transitioning. The spoiled food dumpsters that we deployed at 2121 South 11th Street and at 600 Rickard Streets will be removed this afternoon. On inspection, they are only holding household trash. It doesn't seem like anybody has that much spoiled food anymore, and they are simply throwing their daily garbage into it, so they will be removed. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Fuchs. At this time, I will let Fire Chief Canny come up and talk about the transitioning of the Red Cross out of the BOS Center and allow him to thank his men and women who helped.
Thank you. First, I would like to commend the mayor and thank the mayor for all that she has done, because she's done a fabulous job. After just less than 2 months in office, this storm hit Springfield like no other storm we've seen in 40 years. And the mayor has led us through this seamlessly and ahead of schedule, I might add. Second, I'd like to thank the Red Cross. The Red Cross has always been here for Springfield to assist the community in so many ways, from fire victim relief to smoke detector installs. They've always been here to help this community, and this disaster was no different. This disaster was a large-scale disaster, and they came through again and provided an amazing shelter in the BOS Center with food for hundreds of people each day, tarps and tools to aid in the cleanup, and even cleaning supplies to help those in need. I'd like to thank Dawn Morris and her entire team of volunteers at the Red Cross. I'd also like to thank the members of the BOS Center for providing that wonderful facility for this shelter. Their staff was wonderful and able to meet our every needs. I was able to be there firsthand to witness people coming in to receive all the benefits that the Red Cross and the BOS had to offer. I would also like to thank the men and women of both the Springfield Fire and Police Department. Their response was primarily during the first 24 hours following the storm. But both departments have had a support operation ever since, aiding citizens both during their work hours as well as volunteering in the community to assist those in need. This all began less than 2 weeks ago, and because of a truly community effort, Springfield has weathered this storm and is better off because of it. The Red Cross shelter, as the mayor said, is transitioning. Most of their supplies went out Sunday to other places. Springfield Fire Department is housing some of those supplies. And, you know, they are leaving the BOS Center better than they found it. So thank you to all involved.
Thank you, Chief Canny. I also want to bring forward Assistant Chief Don Mumaw. And just for the record, as you all know, you've been the Assistant Chief for less than 2 months, because he was in after me, y'all. Our police chief had a scheduled vacation before the derecho hit. He was not here and did not leave during it. And he did check in with us all the time. But Assistant Chief Mumaw did an outstanding job leading the Springfield Police Department. So I'd like to let him say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a whole lot. I've stood up here a couple times during these press briefings, and I constantly go back to the work of the men and the women of our department. I'd just like to recognize that again. I mean, they've stepped up. They've done a lot during this event. They've stepped out of their roles. They've worked extra hours. They've just really taken charge, and I'm just really proud to say that I'm a part of those folks. So kudos to them. And Mayor, you've done an outstanding job with this. I know it's your first critical incident, but in 30 years, I've never seen anything like this, and she did a fantastic job. So, and to the rest of you, it's been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you, Chief Mumaw. And as Chief Mumaw said, we've all had a great time working together. It's unfortunate that an incident like this happened in my first 2 months in office. A lot of the directors were brand new, but we all learned very quickly in that emergency operations center that Thursday evening how we all reacted to an emergency, how we all were all hands on deck, and everybody worked together well. I did joke on a call a couple days ago and ask if anyone regretted coming to work for me, because they've all been put into the workforce very quickly. You know, Haley's been working nonstop 7 days a week, 24 hours a day now. So I just thank all of our staff. But at this time, I'm going to let our Chief Utility Engineer, Doug Brown, who has not taken a break either, and he's worked very, very hard, and so is Amber Sabin, who does all his communications, so thank you, Amber. Scott Rogers back here. If I am out at night, they're out too. So if we're checking on crews, I'm checking on crews, they're out checking on crews. If I go see IBEW has been graciously serving dinner to our out-of-town crews and our crews, they're there as well. They're working very hard. So I'm going to let Doug give you some updates now.
Thanks, Mayor. So I kind of want to just start off maybe just a recap, because I think that, there's always confusion with what we, with part of the message going out. But, we spent the first day of the storm focusing on public safety, clearing the roads of power lines, making the roads safe to travel. We want police and fire to be able to get to the citizens, right? Then focusing on medical facilities, then moving to returning the largest circuits of customers that we can, along with nursing homes and grocery stores. And then during that first 48 hours, returning 30,000 of the 40,000 that were without power says a lot. But then staying focused on our plan, again, prioritizing the largest amount of customers, but then, making sure it's efficient by working within, the quadrants of the city. We set targets for restoring power for our customers, and we beat them. So as the first thing this morning, basically everyone was returned that was out of power from the storm was returned to have power, except for the 13 customers that were a part of the Dirksen Parkway businesses that were affected by basically those repairs to fix the transmission and distribution system there were the most extensive that we had in the storm. We basically are going to have them on by tomorrow, if not tonight. And we'll have to coordinate with them to bring them back on. But we do have fresh outages today that have occurred too, just because of tree limbs falling, those kinds of things that will occur. And I've spoken to that about how fragile the system really is, the electric grid, because of that. We replaced over 1,000 pieces of equipment, such as poles, cross arms, fuses, switches, transformers, thousands of feet of wire. The call volume was over 70,000 to our operations center. More than 2,400 work tickets were issued, but we're not done yet. Again, we're going to continue to make repairs to the electric grid to return it to its full strength, its redundancy, its resilience, its reliability. And it's definitely going to take additional time to do that. The cost of the storm is somewhere near $20 million for just the utility, Seawall Light and Power. That doesn't include the other city departments. I'm sure, the public works crews are going to have some high labor costs associated with the storm, as well as police and fire. And I know the mayor has been working hard with IEMA, the county, the governor's office, other state agencies, to try to qualify for FEMA assistance. There's also, some frustration that, we had with customers that came really from probably some confusion too, that I thought really the public-facing map was, basically used by our dispatch team to coordinate their outages and restoring power, and that's really not the case. We wish we could have caught that and addressed that sooner. That probably led to some over-reporting and people being less confident with our response. But, basically we do have our own internal outage management system that they use to issue work orders and, follow the work and report that. As far as we've talked about AMI meters before, so it's an advanced meter, higher tech. It'd be nice to have to reduce the need for customers to call in. But in this outage size, we were already all hands on deck. So it didn't really slow our response or emergency planning to restore power. AMIs will not really actually speed up the physical repairs of that system, so I want to make sure that's clear when we talk about that, but it does just improve communication. And then really with a price tag of about 20 million, and with competing priorities, it'll be up to the mayor and the council, if we want to proceed in that direction in the future. And finally, though, I can't really even come to close to stating how much I appreciate all of our employees, from the linemen to the people in the office, some supervisors, the management, everybody, the call centers, everyone that helped restore power. And then, they work extremely long days, 17-hour days, staffing around the clock. And it also includes the contractors and the other utilities that help through mutual aid. So, they really stepped up. It's long hours. It's a very dangerous job. It's very stressful. So if you know of a CBLP employee that assisted with this storm, please thank them. And I also want to commend the directors, the mayor's staff, the mayor, for providing the guidance and the support that we needed to return the city to almost full power so far. So, and by tomorrow we should be there. Thank you.
Doug. Again, I just want to thank the people behind me and the working men and women of the city of Springfield for all of their hard work and dedication. And then I want to thank our citizens. My staff got a voicemail today, and it was a gentleman who called and just said, I just want to tell you all thanks, you're doing a good job. So we have some really kind citizens out there as well, so I want to say thank you. To go with the disaster relief and the transitions we're doing, the Illinois Baptist Disaster Relief Team is still in the community. They still have 85 calls to service to complete between Springfield and Chatham. If someone needs help removing debris from their yard or on top of their home from the storm, and you are underinsured, uninsured, or handicapped or disabled and need help, you can call the Illinois Baptist Disaster Relief Team at 217-341-2416 to get on that call of service, and they are still here helping out. We also want to let uninsured or underinsured homeowners who have damage to their meters attached to their home and cost expense there that they need help with, please call the Office of Economic Development at the City of Springfield. Their number is 217-789-2377. They are there to assist you with that. I also want to make a call out, and I was on a call with Mike Murphy from the Springfield Chamber of Commerce. I want to ask any business owner to please help track your loss of revenue from being without power, as well as any costs for lost inventory or food. This is for businesses. We are going to work together in the future to try to secure assistance for businesses, and the tracking will be very, very important. So I'm just asking that you track that at this time. We are in the recovery and assessment mode from the Derecho of June 29th, 2023. That recovery and assessment mode will include working groups within the community to assist in disasters internally and externally. If you experience a BLP outage from upcoming storms that might come this week or from falling tree limbs, please call 217-789-2121. And our Public Works Department is going to be out still in the streets. I know that Dave referenced the maps that are out there, but they're going to continue going up and down streets for quite some time. So don't worry if your debris takes a little bit of time to get out for the branches and that. The Department of Public Works, if you do need to call them, is 217-789-2246. And at this time, we will open it up for questions. Uh-oh, you never asked. Call back.
Somebody asked to carry the curmudgeon. You over-delivered a little bit, so by almost a day, anything?
There's a couple things maybe. One is the weather wasn't maybe quite as bad as we anticipated, but also some of these are the repairs that sped up. We started hitting some pretty big numbers returning people to power. And if you looked at the outage map, I mean, they're still scattered all over Springfield. So when we have, we actually really couldn't even keep up trying to identify where they were going, because they would hit one house, then the next, and it just kept clicking. So I think it says a lot for, you know, the speed of the linemen that were here, not just ours, but also the mutual aid crews and contractors, but they also did it very safely. So, you know, I think that's why they were able to knock that out.
Director, could you tell me how you arrived at the $20 million figure and what that entails, and might it go up?
So, you know, basically, we have to get some rough estimates together to kind of know where we're headed towards. That's why we come up with that number. We kind of maxed out our contracts that we have issued, plus looking at internal labor estimates, but we did it very roughly. So that's why I say it's about 20 million. I'm not saying it's at 20 million. It's near 20 million range, give or take a couple. So we won't know those costs, you know, for I don't know, for maybe a few days at least. And then it'll be longer than that to get the actual final cost in. But, you know, that analysis is going to take some time.
What kind of factors would cause, you know, the temporary lines to falter?
You know, what do you mean temporary?
Are you guys installing, you know, temporary lines, you know, power lines, and over the next 2 to 3 weeks?
No, they're not temporary. Well,
Temporary fixes or?
When I say that we're going to continue work, think of it as we have 2 areas of the city that have basically 2 lines that are running to them. They're parallel, and one is down, and one is keeping our customers on still. That one line that's been damaged, you know, we still need to fix that, because it provides redundancy and it's you know, a strength and reliability of the electric grid. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So is that, you know, how many lines are there like that in Springfield? So over the 2 to.
I don't have those numbers with me.
Okay. So over the next 2 to 3 weeks, you know, like what will be the daily schedule to make sure that, you know, these lines are strong?
You know, off the top of your head, they're working 12. I mean, well, not still. We were working 17, but we're going to reduce to 12s though for that part of it. Because we are seeing some fatigue, and we're keeping contractors and stuff like that too for longer.
Okay. And yep, that's all I got.
Director, you've mentioned a couple of times that you're wanting to restore the grid to where it was, to that level of redundancy. There's probably not a lot of people who have a ton of confidence right now in that level after how this storm devastated the electrical grid. Are there steps being taken in this whole repair process to make it stronger than it was before, or is it getting back to level before we start talking about improvements?
Yeah, right now we're focused on returning it to the state that it was in. That's where we need to focus on first. You know, any discussion of trying to make further improvements, you know, where you draw the line, you know, people say, you know, bury the power lines. That's at an enormous cost. I don't think that they'd want to pay for that kind of a rate increase for. You know, this is you know, it's a huge storm, like a hurricane. We've never seen one like this before. Are they going to happen with more frequency? I don't know. It's something that we can, you know, plan for, you know, in the future though, and see what we can accomplish with that.
I just want to add to something that I brought up this morning to what Doug said with it being a hurricane-like storm. The difference is on the coast, they see a hurricane coming out in the ocean, and the people who live in those coastal areas have an opportunity to go get water and food and hunker down into their homes. Our citizens didn't have warning with this. Literally, the tornado sirens went off and they were in their basements. So we had citizens who weren't prepared with water and food because they didn't have time to prepare. So as mayor, that's something I just want to bring up so that we can all make sure that we have, just as like hurricane victims do, stored in our home, some bottled water and some food, some flashlights, just in case, because our weather patterns are changing. I'm not a meteorologist, but you all have them in your offices and they'll probably tell you the same thing. So let's prepare and learn from this as well as citizens.
Mayor, another question for you. I know you've mentioned a couple times seeking federal funding, state funding, emergency funding. Can you kind of walk us through, I know you mentioned specifically for businesses, kind of who's going to be targeted by that? Do we have any timelines in place yet? I know that's really preliminary right now.
So there is a timeline to request federal funding, and that clock started ticking the night we got, or the afternoon, because it was in the afternoon, right, that we got hit. As soon as that storm hit, the clock started ticking. But we're aware of that, and we're working with IEMA on a daily basis. And actually, all that gets funneled through Sangamon County, their Emergency Operations Center, and then they submit it to IEMA for the entire county. So I've been in constant contact with Mayor Kimsey in Chatham because they are doing the same thing as well. And then their county is asking, you know, the village of Riverton had a little bit of damage. Could they please turn in theirs? Everybody's been asked to turn theirs in. So then that will go from the county level to IEMA. Even though we are on daily discussions with IEMA, then IEMA will submit to FEMA for that request. That's on the federal level. The businesses that we were talking about is through IEMA that they will assist us in asking for that, but it's separate from the city assistance, and it would be maybe through the SBA program. So that's why I'm asking businesses to track so that they can and make sure they know what their expenses are in the event they want to take advantage of that. So the businesses is a separate grouping than our $20 million tab, and it's $22.7 million for the whole state from the Derecho. So all of us combined would get into that total. So that's what we need to be to ask for FEMA assistance, and then FEMA would come in and then do their evaluation still. Just because you ask doesn't mean you'll get it. They'll come in and evaluate. 0.7 million for the state from the Derecho. So we're almost at 20 million just with city water, light and power, let alone police, fire, public works, any of our other agencies or the village of Chatham. So, yeah.
Okay, so that's the cost statewide across mainly, that's only through central. Springfield is accounting for
The majority of that. Yeah,
that large of the cost.
correct.
And that's largely from the equipment or the repairs and everything like that, because
Right.
They've had major outages across central Illinois, but they fall into that same, they don't fall.
No, they're investor owned, so it's different. I think it's with public infrastructure. So like our numbers, yeah, for equipment, materials, labor, all of that.
And I will add, I had a conversation with our city arborist to start tracking the loss of trees that we have on city property, because I'm sure that number is going to be vast, and that will be another expense that we have to replace.
Okay. Just to clarify one more time, is the total amount, it's 22.7 at a state level. If we're looking at almost 20 million in Sangamon County, does it stand to reason that's going to reach that level? And is the 22.7 an automatic kick-in from FEMA, or do you still have to negotiate with them?
I don't think there's any automatic of anything. I think that's just the place to get to have them come look at us and talk to us. Clearly, any assistance we can get, I would want as mayor, otherwise the taxpayers are paying for all of this, right? So not that I wanted great devastation, but the fact that that cost is going up is what is going to allow us to possibly get reimbursement for some of that, so. Do you have anything you want to add, Doug?
Obviously would help with some of that communication issue that's missing, but is there any plans to that outage map or change
Yeah.
circumstances, how you guys do that?
I mean, we'll have, that'll be part of like our lesson learned meetings. We'll have quite a few of those here over the next few months. But yeah, that's definitely one with the predictive analysis of the software that we'll get with the vendor. You know, the staff will look at that with them and see what they can do to improve that part of it.
I just want to clarify, when restoring it to what it was maybe last week, the power grid would give away potentially off, other places to get power on for individual houses. Is that what would get in the way of
Yes, I mean, we can't predict what damage might occur, so any damage to the system can weaken it. So, yeah, that's definitely true.
Director, how many of the Springfield-based contractors have taken advantage of the situation or made deposits to do the meter?
7.
7. Thank you.